Hello, this is Lauren with IndoorGardening.com, and today we're going to talk about how to vacation with plants. Going away for any extended period of time when you have plants can be incredibly scary. You don't know if your plants are going to make it. You don't know if they're going to have pests. What if they need water? There are so many issues to consider, and you always want to be there to take care of your plants. But sometimes you just want to be able to go on vacation. Sometimes you have to go away for a work trip. There are lots of reasons to leave your plants, and they should be just fine without you. Today we have some tips and tricks for you on how to keep your plants happy while you're away. First step is watering. We're always worried about watering our plants. What if they need water while we're gone? It can be a little scary because we think about coming back to all these wilted, sad plants, and what if they just don't make it? We spent so much time growing them. I know it can be a little scary, but plants can go 1 to 2 weeks without any extra water added, depending on the substrate that you have, the conditions that they're in. There are ways for you to get water to your plants even if you're not here. You can use a self-watering pot system where you insert a wick down in the bottom with a water reservoir, and that water will get wicked up into the pot. This is especially great for plants that cannot handle drying out at all. Plants like African violets, plants like peace lilies. There are quite a few calathea out there that can handle drying out. We do have a video on that. But there are some that are just plain old difficult that just never want to dry out. So self-watering pots can really help out with that. Another thing that can help is just topping your plants with sphagnum moss. Adding a little bit of sphagnum moss already pre-moistened on top there will help trap that moisture in and help the soil or the substrate underneath stay a little bit wet a little bit longer. Also, if your plants are in terracotta, that will wick away moisture faster. So if you find that your plants are drying out after 2 or 3 days, maybe switch them into a plastic pot or put them inside a cover pot so that it can retain that moisture. You don't necessarily have to repot your plants, but just find a way to keep that moisture contained in there a little bit longer for you, and that can help as well. You can also hire somebody. There are plant babysitters on various websites or local plant groups. You can hire one of them to come and take a look at your plants. You can also have family members come by and make sure that you're watering your plants. If you are concerned about somebody else watering your plants for you and taking care of your plants, just know your plant cycle and write it down beforehand what each plant is going to need, or a particular room on what day you want them to come by and water those plants, or however you normally do it. Just write it down so somebody else can do it for you in your absence. But generally, plants don't need a lot of water all the time, and a lot of them can handle quite a bit of drought. So you really only have to water them every 1 to 2 weeks anyway. So if you're going away for a couple of days, there's definitely no need to stress about water. Next up is lighting. Another thing that's very concerning with plants is what if the power goes out, the grow lights don't come on? What if there's a heat wave, they're too close to the window, they're going to get burned? These are absolutely valid concerns. They are very, very important things to worry about with the plants. What you can do is set your plants away from the window. You can set them in the center of the room or kind of pull them back a little bit. If your plants are normally perfectly fine right where they're at, they're already away from the window a little bit, then you won't have to move them at all. If you only have grow lights, try to move your plants into a room where they can get some natural light. Plants can survive in the dark for a week to 2 weeks depending, but they will have leaf loss, they will have lessened growth, and then they will struggle a little bit. So if you can make sure that they're getting some natural light, then that can really help them out. Generally speaking, for shipping, for example, plants go in a box and they can be in there. I've seen plants last in a box for up to a month. So it is a concern to some extent, but the plants will be okay. I think we tend to baby our plants quite a bit. They're inside. We like to love on our plants a lot, and we like to have them rely on us quite a bit, but they can be self-reliant to some extent, and they can be okay for a few weeks when we go away. If you are going to be away more than 1 to 2 weeks, I would definitely recommend hiring somebody to come and check on your plants just to make sure that everything is good. You should probably have somebody come and check on your house as well just to make sure things are in order. But generally with plants, relying on natural light as much as possible is what's really going to help you out there. But I definitely understand that There are grow lights and extenuating circumstances, and natural light may not always be the answer. There are timers that you can set up for your grow lights. Just be warned that if your grow lights come with timers already, they will go on the timers that they already have, not the timer that you have them plugged in for. For example, there's a lot of bar lights out there that have little built-in timers with them. So if you plug them into a wall timer, when those lights go off, they will not come back on based on that wall timer. They will stay off. So make sure if you get something like that, that you test it out a couple of days beforehand, and that way you know what you're dealing with when you're leaving for vacation. Temperature is another big thing that worries people when they leave for vacation. If you live in an incredibly hot climate, or if you're worried about heat waves, plant rooms can heat up quite a bit. Also, if you're going away for vacation in the wintertime, things can get cold really quick and then your plants won't make it. So that is a huge concern. What if the power goes out? How can I take care of my plants if I'm not there? Again, absolutely valid concerns. These things happen, but plants are very, very resilient. As long as plants have a water source, they will be perfectly fine in high temperatures as long as they're not also cooking in the sun at the same time. They can bounce back and they can recover from a little bit of heat. They may have some wilted leaves, they may have a little bit of damage, but they can definitely recover. Even if you come back and they're all wrinkled and curled up, you can just give them a little bit of water and a little bit of humidity and they will generally come back for you. If you are concerned about cool temperatures for your plants, you can set up heat blankets around them, put them on a table with heat mats. They're basically the same ways that you would try to heat a person are the same ways that you would try to heat your plants. They will be okay. Just try to pull them away from the windows. So if you don't have double insulated windows, they're not going to get frostbite against those windows there. Most homes generally have double insulated windows now, but if you live in an older home and things haven't been upgraded, they can still get damage from the windows there. Most of the plants that we have as house plants are picked because they are invasive or very hardy where they originally came from, or they have been bred in labs to be able to handle indoor conditions really, really well. So they are built to be okay and not be babied all the time and not given attention all the time. And they can handle a little bit of neglect. Pests are another thing that have a tendency to kill plants while their caregivers are away. But it's totally okay. You can preemptively treat for that. There are lots of systemics out there. You can get beneficial bugs that'll eat the pests while you're away as well. Do not use systemics and beneficial bugs at the same time. Systemics will kill the beneficial bugs. So use one or the other, whichever your preferred pest treatment method. But pests don't have to be the end all for plants. They really, really don't. A lot of times just checking your plants, going and checking the underside of leaves, washing your plants off. Even if your plant does have a pest on it, like spider mites, for example, it should be okay for 1 to 2 weeks while you're away. If you are really worried about that, you can also add that to a list of things for your particular plant sitter to come and take care of for you. You can say, hey, this alocasia has some spider mites. Could you just wipe down the leaves for me while I'm away? And that will be enough. It doesn't have to be a super big thing. If you are going to be using systemics, just keep in mind that systemics do take a couple of weeks to get soaked up into the plant in order to start killing the pests. If you are going to be using a systemic, this is definitely something to do well in advance of you leaving, not something just to dump on your plant the night before you're running out the door, which I have done. I think we've all done that a time or two. But definitely just something to keep in mind is to prepare for that a couple weeks in advance. Maybe just give the ones that are prone to pests a systemic, or just order some beneficial bugs so that you can give them to your plants before you head out. Your plants will be okay. They will be all right. Plants don't need people as much as people need plants. Honestly, majority of them are going to be just fine without intervention all the time. You can use these tips and then rest and relax easy while you are away on your trip and come back to happy plants. Don't forget to check out indoorgardening.com for more tips and information. We are always happy to help. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye!